Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Big Brain.
Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Big Brain, here today, and you're witnessing the first national semi-final of Tata Crucible for Corporates 2020. With me here today are 6 outstanding contestants in the first semi-final, of whom 3 will go into the big final. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a phenomenal journey, but before we pay tribute to these wonderful 6 champions, let's meet who they are. Let me first begin by introducing our 6 contestants here today before we get into the battle line itself. Qualifying as our first champion here today, winning from the Bengaluru cluster of Tata Crucible from Tata Consumer Products, Tanmay Pristi. Welcome to you, Tanmay, into our semi-final. As our second contestant from what was Goa and rest of Karnataka, he traditionally does well in the Goa region of the quiz, consistent as ever. From that region, from Addison Designs, Shoaib Syed. Welcome to you, Shoaib, into our semi-final. As our third finalist from the Chennai cluster of this quiz, ever consistent, as always, going through from Tata Consultancy Services, Jayakanthan. Welcome to you, Jayakanthan. As our fourth finalist here today from the Kerala, rest of Tamil Nadu, and all those union territories around it, winning from the beautiful God's own country from State Bank of India is Bobbin Jacob. Welcome to you, Bobbin, into our final from the Deep South representation. Moving to our Andhra Telangana region and winning from there is Naveen Kumar, yet another consistent performer from Sai Mitra Constructions. Welcome to you, Naveen. As we go to our final contestant from the Pune sector, which largely covers Pune, Nagpur, 2 good sectors for us, and qualifying from the Bank of New York and Mellon is Kapinjal. Welcome to you, Kapinjal. Ladies and gentlemen, time for us to get started. 100 the value, 5 seconds the duration. They're all, of course, in a designated location where it is now a proctored level of a contest where we do have someone from our end with them with all the safety measures and the social distancing taken care of. But to keep the contest absolutely fair as we move into a national level, we do have them not necessarily from the comfort of their homes, but from the comfort we've tried to provide them. If we are good to go, and if you are good, all set on the buzzers, all set on your systems, time to pick action. On the first frontier of the first semi-final, it's time for a startup mindset. Here it comes. 24 questions in all for them, and 3 of them will qualify, and that's the important part. It's not winning the semi-final. It's about going through into the national final. All hands on the buzzer, starting with the first one in the first frontier on your screen. Identify a person from these clues. You got a Google Doodle, girls, not brides, and the Wimbledon will connect you to a famous personality from history from the world of Tata. Couldn't have found a better one to start. Naveen Kumar, off on the first one. Yes, Naveen. Go ahead.
This is Lady Meherbai Tata.
Explain that to me.
Lady Meherbai Tata actually, like, she was behind this Sharda Act. So basically, like, this girls' childhood marriages, and like she was an ardent tennis player as well. So these are the 2 things which I went for.
He's got that absolutely right. Lady Meherbai Tata will get him 100 here today. He's absolutely right. Lady Tata was the lady who actually campaigned for the Sharda Act, which was to stop child marriage way ahead of time. And she also played Wimbledon along with Dorab Tata. I think it was doubles that she played. I'm not too sure on the technicality on that. But nonetheless, the answer that I was looking for, Lady Meherbai Tata, absolutely correct. First 100 going to Naveen Kumar. As we go to the second one, hands on the buzzer. Here it comes. This gentleman is the chairman of an important company. Midani is a very important clue. It's a state-run enterprise. Equally important is Walchand Nagar and, of course, a currency note, 2000 rupees. Tanmay Prishti is giving it a shot. Where does all of this lead you to in this journey? Yes, Tanmay.
I'm going with Tata Elxsi. So they had something to do with the design. This guy is possibly the CMD of Tata Elxsi. And
little more specific to that currency note if you can.
so they would have helped in the design and because Elxsi is an engineering design, complementary forensic technology, security technology, that kind of company. So they do a lot of consultancy projects. So guessing they were the consultants behind the design and the securitification of the currency note, etc.
That's a perfect answer coming in from Tanmay Prishti. The answer, Tata Elxsi, that I was looking for. The converse of that note is actually Mangalyan on India's 2000 rupee currency. And Tata Elxsi had an important role to play there. The chairman of Tata Elxsi, of course, on your screens. 100 to Tanmay Prishti. Moving on to our next question here on your screens. Two of them on 100 apiece. Remember, 3 qualify, but there's a long way to go. I just keep reminding them because sometimes the tendency of quizzers is to try and win every time. Here's the next one on your screens now. This is the name of a gun factory which you see on your left. On your right is an administrator turned CEO of an enterprise. From the world of business and sport, Naveen Kumar. Go ahead, Naveen.
My guess is Arsenal Football Club.
The Arsenal Football Club. Oh, gun manufacturing, Arsenal in that sense. Well played. He'll get himself another 100. Naveen Kumar is playing well. He's moved to 200. We move on to the next question here in the first semi-final that you are witnessing. On your screens, here it comes. These are all beautiful photo collections from a society that was started by Hiravan Pranjivan Das, a very important personality from 1924 who was behind this society. And therefore, Bobbin Jacob has gone for it. Yes, Bobbin?
Bombay Society.
Minus 100 to you on the Bombay Society. This is what led to the tea society called India and the Society Tea as a brand. Well, tough ones in the semi-final. Minus 100 to Bobbin. As we go to the next one on your screens now. All of this will lead you to something. Famous lady from the history of Pepsi. Nissan. The British Virgin Islands on your screen. And Bira. An institution or body is what I'm looking for. Kapinjal has gone for it. Yes, Kapinjal?
Yeah, my guess would be ICC.
The International Cricket Council
Yes.
will give you a plus 100. Well played on that. Kapinjal gets 100. And that is well played, Kapinjal. Moving on to the next one here today. Naveen Kumar on 200, Kapinjal on 100. The game is slowly beginning to build up here as we go to the final one in the first frontier of our first semi-final here on your screens now. In the olden days, the whole idea was to bring out stamps as a commemoration. In the modern world, it's a different way of looking at life. Kapinjal is on the buzzer. Yes, Kapinjal?
Yeah, I think it's a J font. The J font after JRD.
It's called the J font.
Yes, it is.
And it's a font that's a tribute to JRD Tata.
JRD Tata, yes.
In the olden days, it was stamps as a tribute. In the modern world, there are fonts that are created exclusively for people This is the J font, a tribute to J.R.D. Tata. 100 again to Kapinjal. He's doing well. Early days in our battle here today, and no one really seems to be running away with this quiz. It's a tight start. Tanmay, Kapinjal, Naveen off to a start. It's early days, but I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and then come back to our contestants for the next round. Here we go. Wherever you're watching this quiz, all you got to do is to use that text box to key in your answers, and you got to be really fast because the fastest ones will win. All right, let me ask you, this is absolutely current affairs in a sense. I am the daughter of a former chief minister of a state and later the external affairs minister of our country. I am now the CEO of a famous coffee outlet. Who am I? Well, type those answers in as I ask you the next question. In the business world, the rear view mirror is always clearer than the windshield. I'll repeat that. In the world of business, or in the business world, the rear view mirror is always clearer than the windshield. Whose prophetic words are these? You could win yourselves prizes if you text it quickly. As I get back to our contestants to take a look at the Crucible quotient at this stage. Here it comes on your screen. Naveen Kumar and Kapinjal on 200 apiece, Tanmay on 100, and the others will soon catch up. Early days, no one's really run away with it. As we move into the second frontier of our battle here today, it's time to play what we call Deep Dive. Here it comes. On Deep Dive, the whole idea is to dig deep into your knowledge repositories, and that's how the world survives in times of difficulty. As we are starting with the first one, hands on the buzzer on your screen. Here it comes. This is an ad campaign created by Saatchi & Saatchi, depicting a company's longevity and the fact that it existed even before the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty, and that people traveled there to see it while it was even being constructed. This was a company which simply said, since 1758. What a powerful campaign. Shoaib is going for it. Yes, Shoaib.
Okay, since these were tourists, I'm going with Fujifilm.
Minus 100 to you. He got the drift right. He played it well. The answer, Cox and Kings. Competing with Thomas Cook, they said people went there even before the monuments came up. Cox and Kings, the answer, minus 100 to him. As we go to the next one, on your screens now. The original name comes from what you see technically in these visuals. Kapinjal has gone for it. Oh boy, he's really fast.
The answer is Aviva life insurance.
Explain that to me.
Hands in hands and something was there.
Oh, hand in hand.
Hibu. Yeah.
Hand in hand, fire and life. Beautifully played. Plus 100 to Kapinjal. Oh, he's playing the game well. He's moved to 300, and at some stage midway, they will evaluate if it's good enough to be in a national final. As we go to the next one, on your screens now. The author of these books was a famous businessman, Naveen Kumar. The People's Corporation. Go ahead.
King Gillette. King Camp Gillette.
King Camp Gillette. Will give him 100 as well. Oh, Naveen Kumar also tearing his way into a 300. The pressure is probably going to begin on the third contestant to qualify as we go to the next one. On your screens now. Something resulted after the launch of this brand. It even got discussed at the House of Lords in the United Kingdom. Tanmay has gone for it. What happened in that country that people had to discuss this brand launch in Parliament? Yes, Tanmay, your mic is off.
This is the Unilever brand Sunlight. So they created a company town called Port Sunlight, and there was a lot of employee welfare activities. So Unilever, Port Sunlight, that's the brand that the city got created, and that's why, and there were issues around it. So that's why the brand got discussed in the House of Lords.
-100. He's getting that wrong, this Tanmay Prushti. Well, the company actually supplied this as free as part of a mail promotional campaign. And the lemon that was printed on it was of such a huge size that people never really read that it was a cleaning formula. People actually thought that it was a lemon syrup and had real lemon juice. People actually started consuming it in the United Kingdom. There were cases of nausea, diarrhea, children suffering. The brand was pulled up for wrong branding and for communicating a wrong message. Was discussed even at the House of Lords. Tough one. Lessons that one learns from excessive branding and focus on the wrong elements. As we go to the next one, on your screens now, identify a specific profession that would connect you to these two clues. Naveen Kumar.
Carpenters.
Explain.
He's Olka Christiansen. Like he initially made toys from woodens. Like Fevicol has this carpenters club. So like FCC, this is basically for carpenters. So the profession is carpenters.
Very well played. Naveen Kumar will get another 100. He moves to 400. He's on the lead as we go to the next one. On your screens now. He is a Padma Vibhushan recipient in our country. He is a first in an institution where normally this job is never given to someone from within the system. It's always occupied by an external person. He was the first and the only one so far to occupy a position from within the system. A Padma Vibhushan recipient. Who is this or what is the position? I'll give you points on both or either. Very famous personality. He is the first and only to have occupied this very important position in India from within the system. Nobody on that. 5 seconds of time blurring away for them. The answer, he was the first and only from the cadre of officers to become the governor of the Reserve Bank of India is Mr. Narasimhan, the man who is a Padma Vibhushan recipient in this country. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer on your screen now. It's a very important geographical location, a real estate area of great premium. This is associated also with the advertising industry in America. Naveen Kumar.
Okay, he's James Madison. So Madison Square Avenue is named after him. So where in New York.
All the
Madison
big
Avenue.
advertising giants are all in Madison Square Avenue. The answer is Madison Avenue. He is extremely well prepared. Cryptic clues, as one would call it, but he's figuring it out. He's gone on to 500 as this quiz is inching forward just past halfway. So he will be calculating and saying, can I really finish fourth from here? If the answer is no, he's going to be in a national final. Kapinjal on 300 is also looking good because the others are not scoring and it's only these two. As we go to the next one, on your screens now. John Burnham is president and publisher of the HarperCollins division. He had previously served as senior editor at the Viking Penguin in the United States. He was responsible for paying $1 million in advance to win the US rights for something that competed with over 6 other publishers. It created a huge buzz. According to even the author, he said, I was fairly stunned that the bidding process reached $1 million. Jaykantan.
I'm guessing this is Barack Obama's new memoir.
-100 to you. This is the sacred games that I was describing. I was going to go into Eric Shimnoff and stopping me just before that, he takes a negative. 2 of them in the positives, 3 of them in the negatives. Thanmay losing the 100 that he had. As we go to the next one, on your screens now. A term commonly used by us today Also with reference to an industry, Naveen Kumar.
I'm just guessing logistics, because he's the guy who coined the term logistics.
Phenomenal, phenomenal answer. Oh, in 1846, the term logistics was actually coined by a military officer in his summary of art and war. What an answer by Naveen Kumar. These are classical questions that I would have ideally kept for a national final, but sometimes a semi-final can be tougher than a national final in theory. As we move on to the second half of this segment, and it's a special moment for us, as I introduce to you questions from the corner office. Here it comes. The value remains 100, the time remains 5 seconds, but the questions are not mine. The questions are all from Mr. Harish Bhatt, the brand custodian of the Tata Group and an outstanding appreciator of knowledge, an ambassador of quizzing, and in many ways the custodian of Tata Crucible, a former runner-up himself. Well, like we say it and all of us know it, it's a very novel way of protesting because he can't take part anymore, so he's part of the research team. And here are his questions. 3 of them, starting with the first one on your screens now. These are patent diagrams by a cotton buyer from New Brunswick in New Jersey. He approached a company with a very simple idea in New Brunswick. They initially did not like his idea, but later said, okay, it seems simple. It is believed to be among the first do-it-yourself products, technically speaking, that sold at a mass scale. He went on to serve the board of that company till 1961, when Tanmay is taking a shot. New Brunswick cotton buyer.
I think this is the Band-Aid, the first, it's like the first patent of the Band-Aid that one sticks it. It's like a self-adhesive.
Oh, he was a cotton buyer for Johnson & Johnson. He came up with a self-help kit, so to say, the creation of Band-Aid. Beautifully answered by Tanmay. He'll get 100 and he'll be relieved not to be on that 0, but to get to that 100 as we go to the next one from the office of Mr. Harish Bhatt. On your screens, what's the connection to this Nobel? Here we go. Very significant connection. 2020 Nobel Prize, Physics, very evident. But why? Why is the other gentleman there on your screen a very famous writer? Tough ones. Jayakantan, go ahead. Your mic is off, Jayakantan.
So I'm guessing this is the writer who coined the term black hole for the astronomical thing. They took the thing, actually the worm space and all that, black hole.
Comes from the derivative of that. Jayakantan from Tata Consultancy Services will get a minus 100. Well, he went on a completely wrong route there. The entire theory that was presented to the world by Sir Penrose, he used a variant, of course, inspired by the other man on the screen. And he said, the emperor's new mind, which essentially presented to the world his hypothesis of human consciousness modeled by computing. The title of that actually came from a bestseller, The Emperor's New Clothes, which is from Hans Christian Andersen. Tough ones here today in a semi-final. As we move on to the final one, well, that is some serious research by Mr. Harish. But as we go on to the final one in this frontier, on your screens now. All of these are important to one entity. Naveen Kumar. He's on 600 and continuing to blaze away. Yes, Naveen.
So my guess is Lakme, because Tomco was the first company which launched Lakme, and all these are brand ambassadors of Lakme.
All the faces of Lakme. Tomco was the company which gave the world Lakme. 700 if my arithmetic is correct to Naveen Kumar. Moving on towards the final frontier of our battle, let me ask you one more audience question as these contestants take a little bit of a pause and analyze their positions. For now, Naveen Kumar looking invincible. He's really in a solid position. Kapinjal behind him. The battle really seems between Tanmay, Shoaib and Jayakantan. But before we get there, here's one last question for you guys. If India is .in and China is .cn on the internet, which country is .ch? I'll repeat that. Which country is .ch? Not an easy one, so you got to think that through. As I get back to our contestants, and let's have a look at where the contestants stand. Here it comes. On 700 with 6 questions to go, I think Naveen Kumar is reasonably sure of being in the national final. Should I say, yet again. Kapinjal, the man who's really been the story this year. He beat some outstanding quizzers from Pune. He's played it well on 300. He'll watch the first couple of questions and then take a call. Tanmay Prushti will be happier if he gets one more 100. Else, he's going to play a hedging game. But he's not out of the game because the others are on negatives and not even on nil. So he's got a little bit of a distance. So he'll actually look at his score as 200 or 300 in the context of the overall scorecard and not what his score reads. So moving on to the final frontier of our battle here today. 6 questions that I'm going to read out to the contestants. It's time for them to level up. Here it comes. Body language has told us a lot this year at Tata Crucible, and Naveen Kumar tells more than a story currently. Well, he's sitting back comfortably, and with 700, I think he's decided saying, let me just play the national final. And, well, the others are certainly going to battle it out. On the final frontier, you're allowed to interrupt me while I'm reading the question, and if you do so, I will stop reading the moment you press the buzzer. 6 questions. The fight is actually for 1 slot in my mind, unless it gets really tricky and Tanmay scores heavily and someone catches up with Kapinjal. Probabilities are low, but, well, you never know. Question number 1, hands on the buzzer, nothing appears on your screen, so just listen to me carefully. Here we go. I was a chartered accountant at the Indian Railway Accounts Service, as it was known then. I was later appointed to the Indian Railway Board before I became the Controller of General Supplies and Purchases for the Indian Railways. I once served as an advisor to the Nizam of Hyderabad. I was also part of a company name which was started initially in steel trading in Punjab. I, who was succeeded by Chaudhry Muhammad Ali in an important position, am important myself. Who am I? Jayakanthan is taking his chances and he knows he has to. Go ahead. Your mic, Jayakanthan.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is Ghulam Muhammad of Mohammed Mahindra, the guy who started Mahindra & Mahindra. I mean, now what became M&M?
Extremely well played. Crucial 100 to him. Is he going to make a comeback from here? His first target's going to be Tanmay Prushti, and then it may not matter beyond the point. But as we go to the next one, hands on that crucial buzzer. Created by the marketing arm and powered by Repucom, R-E-P-U-C-O-M, what does the marketing tool, the Davy Brown Index, measure in the world? Jayakanthan.
This is basically the power of a celebrity in terms of a brand value, like how much of a value that brand value is being added by endorsement, things like that. How much of a
so brands use celebrities. What's the impact of that celebrity on the brand? Plus 100 to Jayakanthan. Oh boy, we've got a comeback happening here. Jayakanthan's back to nil. What a comeback he's making from minus 200, but 4 questions remaining. Here's the next one. This phenomenal creation has been on the top 100 of the Time magazine's list for this category. Leon Shimkin of Simon Schuster was responsible for the first version. To market this, he ran full-page commercials in the New York Times with quotes that came from people like Andrew Carnegie and John Rockefeller on the importance of human relations. The revised version of 1981 saw the section on improving marital satisfaction being removed. What, with more than 30 million customers, are we talking about in this world? And 30 million customers, of whom many have benefited, and some have even acknowledged that it has changed their lives. 5 seconds ticking, nobody on the buzzer on that one. The answer that I was looking for, too late on that, Jaikanthan. I'm sorry, the time lapsed on that question. I can't give it to you because I said the time has lapsed and lapsed in front of me. The answer that I was looking for is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Tough one there and too much time. 5 seconds is something we're being pretty strict on. 3 questions to go as we go on to the next one. Hands on the buzzer. Here we go. Its ads in India featured the case of the ruined shirt. At a point in time, there was a mistake in one commercial and they made it the case of the ruined skirt. Humor as it was a secret formula that essentially was promoted and accompanied a model numbered 51. Tanmay is taking a chance. It's a risk.
Yeah, I'll go with the ketchup, the Heinz ketchup, the Heinz sauces.
The Heinz ketchup or the Heinz sauces. Well, 51 was a number that would have led you in that direction, minus 100. Minus 100 to Tanmay on that. This is the Chelpak Parker 51. And what I was speaking of was quink, which is drying ink. And that was creating a problem for people with ink stains. 2 questions to go. The only thing Tanmay did not want was actually a negative, and he's got a negative, so he's helped Jaikanthan in a sense. It's literally now between Jaikanthan and Tanmay. Naveen is through, Kapinjal is through. Well, here we go. Final 2 questions. The first one was created in the 9th century as per documentation. It gets its name from a Greek female deity whose name actually referred to a flute. It is also used, in a sense, in cooking, baking, and joint fixing. Becton Dickinson, Braun, Turemo are some of the largest corporations in the world who are in this manufacturing segment. It has seen a huge amount of demand in the year 2020. It essentially is a Greek nymph that gives its name to this simple product that gets disposed. Crafty questions in great demand in the modern world of healthcare. Shoaib is giving it a shot. Yeah, Shoaib. He needs to get 2. He can. Oh, yes, Shoaib.
I am just guessing these are hand gloves.
Oh, minus 100 on a hand glove. Well,
This is a syringe.
well, Jaikanthan says it's a syringe, but he was late. The syringe is absolutely the answer that I was looking for. It would have taken Jaikanthan to 100, which is so badly required, but he will not get it on syringe. 1 question to go, 2 of them on nil at this point in time. As we go to the final question, hands on the buzzer. I think now it's quite literally Tanmay versus Jaikanthan. Final question. I was a research assistant at the World Bank, where I worked on approximately a year of time frame in my life on health projects in India that dealt with leprosy, AIDS, and blindness. I also worked as a management consultant at McKinsey. I founded and ran the Harvard Aerobics program in 1980s. While at Harvard, I also co-founded an organization called Women in Economics and Government. Extremely respected in the modern world, I am part of a modern company that is always... Naveen Kumar has forced a tiebreaker here. Why would he do that? All right, go on, Naveen.
Okay, Sheryl Sandberg.
Well, for some odd reason, he thought 700 is less and suddenly woke up on the last question to get himself another 100. Well, I don't know if Tanmay and Jayakanthan will be happy with that if either of them knew the answer on Sheryl Sandberg. But it takes us into a tiebreaker here on the first semi-final. It's time for me to progress right into our tiebreakers with two of them clearly going through. Naveen Kumar from Sai Mitra from Hyderabad and Kapinjal from the Bank of New York Mellon from Pune. You've got a battle between two Tata stalwarts. Tanmay Prushti from Tata Consumer Products, Jayakanthan from Tata Consultancy Services. As we start with the first one, well, here we go. It's a Unilever brand which was launched in 1947, named after a hair care expert, Edna Emmy. It's a famous brand. Jayakanthan is giving it a go. Go ahead, Jayakanthan.
I'm guessing this is Tresemme.
Tresemme.
T-R-E-S. Yeah.
T-R-E-S.
E-M-E. That's basically, M-E is basically from her name.
And it's a Unilever brand that is a tribute to a hair care expert. So, ladies and gentlemen, as our third finalist on that tiebreaker, Jayakanthan from Tata Consultancy Services will make it to the national final. So, time for us to move straight into our prize distribution here today. And time for me to bring in our guest of honor. And the prizes are a congratulatory message to the three of them who go through because there's really nothing to win. Ladies and gentlemen, with us here today is a very young leader from the world of Tatas. The Tatas have always believed in young leadership and leadership that looks to the future. Here is one such gentleman. He's one of the CEOs who powers the digital era, not just for the Tatas, but for this country. As the CEO of Tata Uni Store, he comes with a background which really lines him up in the digital space and perfectly for a kind of a future that the world seems to be preparing itself for. Perhaps he would have been smiling looking at the digital adaptation of a quiz program such as this. Truly our pleasure and privilege to have with us a young, dynamic CEO from the Tata fraternity as the CEO of Tata Uni Store, Mr. Vikas Purohit. Welcome, Vikas. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Truly a pleasure to have you. Tough times, but for someone like you, like I said, from the digital era, these are actually times for you to really tell people, well, the future is going to belong to us. How do you look at it?
No, thanks a lot. I was laughing at you referring to me as young because average age of our organization is 31 years. And I'm the one who really takes it up by a couple of years. So yeah, this is perspective. No, I think I know this got delayed. There were a couple of issues, but that's how we are all adjusting to it today. For us to deliver products across India, people think they'll click a deliver button, but there are so many things which have to align, and many a times they don't. So I completely understand the pains we are going through to adapt to this new way of working. Needless to say, we will. I think, yes, we missed the in-person. If all of us had been together at one place, it would have been fantastic, but we all are somewhere also asking a question that was it worth traveling for 2 days to attend a 1-hour program? And is there a better use of my time? And technology will keep getting better. I think that very soon there'll be a time when we'll practically hug each other and be able to, today if you, so a lot of technology changes will happen. But it was really my pleasure to be part of this. I was listening to all the questions. I got only one right. So that's the reason why I'm here. And very well played, Naveen. I really think you were there even before it was halfway. So enjoyed watching this. And congratulations, Jayakanthan. Congratulations, Kapinjal. Congratulations, Naveen. We really will root for all of you in the final. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vikas. I meant the young in the context of leadership. And maybe it's also a personal reaction these days because I see a lot of corporates telling me, sir, I quizzed with you when I was in school. So it's a problem I'm facing sometimes and it's not new. So you find guys who are now part of corporate India and then they say, sir, I quizzed with you in school. So, but that is life. And I guess at this moment, we'll just ask you to stand by as we get the congratulations coming up for our digital celebration. Oh, that's quick graphics. There you are with Jayakanthan, Naveen and Kapinjal, the national finalists, as their announcement comes up. Well, Jayakanthan will say, thank God I got myself there. Naveen Kumar cruising through and Kapinjal playing a smart game. As we get back to our guest, thank you so much, Vikas. Truly appreciate your time and your patience here today. Thanks, Vikas.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of that absolutely phenomenal final, we have a great champion, a very good player from Bengaluru. Missing out here today is Tanmay Prushti, but he knows he had his chances here today and then he messed up on a couple. Jayakanthan really making a superb comeback. A lot of grit and a refusal to lose out from minus 200 to enter the national final is not an easy game. Naveen Kumar Kapinjal playing it out in a clinical manner. On the other side, you're going to witness the next semi-final of Tata Crucible for Corporates. Till then, from me, Pig Brain, from all of us here at the Tata Crucible team, thank you for tuning in. And the next semi-final is something you do not want to miss. But for now, goodbye.